All right, Sterling, you got to do it just like a Band-Aid.
One motion?
One motion. Rip it off. The Patriots are not playing in the divisional round.
Then is it even the divisional round at all? I mean, really think about this. It's been 10 years since the Patriots weren't in the divisional round of the playoffs. This will be the first time since 2010 when our very own Mike DeVito and the can't wait New York Jets beat the Patriots in the division round that they haven't won a playoff game. Like it feels like such a, whether the dynasty's over or not, like who's to say?
You can't tell. No one knows.
We're so far away from all of it.
Yeah,
we really are. But it does feel like a changing of the guard in the way that one of the 4 games of the divisional round this weekend is not going to feature the New England Patriots.
Yeah,
it's a full new cast. There's new characters. You know, it's now Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Derrick Henry, and even look at the coaches. You know, Andy Reid, John Harbaugh, but then, you know, Bill O'Brien's won a playoff game and is in the second round, which he's done here and there. But, you know, Mike Vrabel, you know, Shanahan out in San Francisco. Mike Zimmer just feels like the old guy that finally got invited.
Right.
But so it does feel like it's kind of a new age in a certain way that the Patriots are in here. Even though they haven't won every Super Bowl the last 5 years,
they've been at least there.
They've been in the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 and won it 3 out of 5. It feels like they're always, you know, at least in the discussion. It's this, even as a Pats fan, there's this cloud hanging over like the entire NFL that, but in the end, the Patriots will win. They're not the most talented, but in the end, they're going to win. And now it's like, it feels more wide open than ever. Yeah.
So let's start with the team that beat the Patriots. That would be one Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry. I mean, we knew he was going to run a lot because he's the rushing leader. But I mean, he tore through that Patriots defense. The Ravens defense, perhaps a bit more stout on the run, not so much the pass. The Patriots defense in the past was incredible.
Sure.
But do they have a chance against a Baltimore team that is getting Mark Ingram back, supposedly healthy? Lamar Jackson obviously is healthy and has been steamrolling teams for a couple of months now.
I'm going to say no and no. I don't think Tennessee matches up really well. Like you said, you're going to force Tennessee to pass against you, and I know Tannehill's numbers down the stretch. You know, he was a fine passer. I mean, he's the reason that they got to where they are, and there is something to be said for the fact that it seems like they've been playing playoff games for the last seven weeks. Yeah, and I think we see it in March Madness. You know, they play the play-in game, and you go, well, that's a huge detriment. And then some of those teams go on a run because they never get out of their regular schedule. I'm trying to look overall, and we'll look at both sides of the field. One of these favorites is going to go down.
You would think.
I have a really hard time imagining that it's going to go straight chalk.
Can I give you a stat?
Sure.
That goes to your theory.
Okay.
There are 4 games, obviously.
4 games.
74% of divisional round home teams win their game. So 3 out of every 4, statistically,
so someone's
win
going to
the
go
game.
down.
So
This weekend.
someone's going to go down.
And it's never who you think.
No.
No, I think right now people are kind of saying, like, is it going to be Green Bay? I think that's kind of the popular pick, that their defense has probably overachieved this year a little bit with the Smith brothers. Like, that they're not as good as the record indicates. And, like, why did they have a 2 seed? You know, New Orleans seems like a better team than them. But
right.
Anyway,
Where are they?
We'll get back to Baltimore, though. I don't think Mark Ingram is healthy. I think that's going to be a huge detriment. That's the only thing I see changing. I mean, how many times do we see the Baltimore Ravens struggle to find a running back, struggle to find a guy, even when Joe Flacco was there, that they couldn't find a reliable running game, the years of, you know, the Justin Forsets and
they were your rushing leader, by the way, so it's pretty important. Now, Gus Edwards, his backup, is serviceable.
Well, but it's a good system. And you look at like what Lamar Jackson did, obviously a historical season from his standpoint, friend of the program, Pat Ricard.
Right.
But, you know, it's when you take out a piece that is as important as Mark Ingram, from what I think Greg Roman's system is so, let's say delicate because it's a wrong word for any offense that features Pat Ricard, but like one that has so many moving pieces. And it's supposed to be rainy, and it's probably going to be a little cold. Not terrible, but when you're running that option and you're looking at double handoffs and Lamar handling the ball a lot, I think there is a chance. I picked Baltimore to win this and probably cover. I do think there is at least a chance that Tennessee could have a long drive in the first quarter, the first half. Maybe Baltimore turns the ball over, and they get to a situation they haven't been. I mean, they were 2-2 to start the year, and they finished 14-2.
Yeah. They got tested against San Francisco and they won that game, but they haven't been tested a ton.
It was just an ugly game. You know, it was rainy, it was cold. I don't think we saw the best of either team by a mile. So I think they really haven't been out in the deep water in a while. So I think there is a chance that a team like Baltimore, who has a little playoff inexperience, this is a different Ravens team than we've seen in the past. No Suggs. Ray Lewis is long gone. Ed Reed. So when you think of it, yeah, the coaching is similar, but this is really Lamar Jackson's, made it last year, but his first deep stint in it. Yeah. I don't think that's where your upset is. I don't think it's in that one. But.
Nope, I'm with you. I think Ravens win this one. I will say, going to our next matchup, if it was Titans-Chiefs, I would pick the Titans because I think Derrick Henry could do exactly what he did against the Patriots to the Chiefs.
Well, and
because the Chiefs' defense is bad.
And we saw it 2 years ago. The Chiefs' defense, I think, is improved, but also I think they feasted on a weak schedule down the stretch. But that can be good to get your confidence level up late in the season, and which I think is sky high. I think Tyrann Mathieu has been a game changer for the defense, and has really brought something that they didn't have previously. So I think he's a game wrecker. I think he's got to have a big game for them to overcome Houston. Houston beat them in October. I talked to Mike DeVito, and he's confident that a lot has changed, and the Chiefs were beat up at the time. Pat Mahomes wasn't right. Tyreek Hill played that game. I do think there's a chance that the KC defense gets tested like they haven't been in quite some time by just the deep ball. Deshaun Watson is a problem. Yeah, and I think he gets overlooked a lot in the AFC. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, those are your back-to-back MVPs. Yeah, Deshaun Watson is right there, but it's tough that he's living the age of these two quarterbacks.
And the problem with the Texans is they are the most Jekyll and Hyde team in the NFL. They'll go out 1 week and they'll blow a team out, and then they'll beat the Patriots, and then they'll go back the next week and they get crushed by, wasn't it the Titans, right? They just destroyed them. And so for that reason, I don't like their consistency. I do think Patrick Mahomes is not Patrick Mahomes. No. You look at his numbers, they're not what they were last year. Now, who would ever imagine that they would be? Right. But they're not even close.
Well, you see, the league catches up to guys, too. It happened this year with Jared Goff, and the difference was the Rams never adjusted. They just kept saying, well, this will work out. Guys will get healthy. We will figure it out. It's a little, hangover from the Super Bowl run last year. But they never got it. They never adapted. The league will catch up to guys. We see it all the time with quarterbacks. The league next year will catch up to Lamar Jackson to an extent. Right. They've caught up to Deshaun Watson at times. And right now that's happening to Pat Mahomes. Can he overcome that against the Texans? And can J.J. Watt be a factor? Because he certainly was against Buffalo last week. But I don't know how much you can glean from that Buffalo-Houston game last week.
No, I don't know either. So I'm saying chalk on the AFC. I think they're good games. I don't see Houston taking down Kansas City, and I don't see Tennessee taking down Baltimore.
I think the most likely one, I could see Houston doing it. There's a reason that KC has only won one home playoff game in the last, 25-plus years. I think it's been since Joe Montana was there before last year when they took care of the Colts in the divisional round to host the Patriots. There's something about that. Now, did they get over the hump and now they're going to be fine? It does kind of remain to be seen. I do think that Houston could be a problem there. They're a different team when Will Fuller's healthy. And I think that's one of the things that I look at with the Houston Texans is they're wildly inconsistent. But when Will Fuller is out there, which you never know, almost week to week with him. Right. But when he is, man, that passing game is tough to contend with, especially for a team like KC that their offense as of late, a little hit or miss.
Now on to the NFC. Here's my upset pick, and it's the popular one. Green Bay Packers. I have called them fraudulent all year long. You look at that offense and you watch that offense, and they can hit big plays, 80-yard touchdowns. They're exciting. But then they'll go 3 and out the next 4 series. They're just so inconsistent. Part of that is Aaron Rodgers. Part of that is everyone else on the team. The defense is okay, not great. I just feel like that's a team that's ripe to be upset.
It seems so when you look at teams that are at home this weekend. Seattle, you think about the 12th man, you think about that tough place to play, but they've been better on the road.
And I like Russell Wilson. He's got the experience, and I feel like he's one of those guys that under pressure you can trust him.
I think he can get away from the front side of the Green Bay Packers, which is their strength, and can he extend plays and find open receivers? Can Metcalf have another big game? He could be a matchup issue. It seems weird to say in 2020, Marshawn Lynch is kind of an X factor. Right. What can he bring? Does he get in the end zone a couple of times? Does he cut it? He was cutting big plays. He was getting outside the tackles last week. He caught 2 passes.
Yeah. He was efficient to a degree. He only averaged like 2.8 yards per carry, but he looked like he still had a burst.
Well, and he did on that goal line carry.
Yeah.
And, he caught a couple swing passes outside the tackles, and it still looks terrifying. Not the Derrick Henry catching a swing pass out in the flat, but when Marshawn Lynch caught the ball to the outside, you just go, oh no, like this is going to be an issue bringing this guy down, because whether or not he's been either resting up, he's been on the couch for a year.
A lot of Skittles. He's
still like had a burst to the outside. So,
Are you with me then? Are you taking Seattle?
I think it's the most likely. Okay. And would I take it? Yeah, probably. But I always have a thing when they say, when 100% of people say something's going to happen,
you zag.
Go the complete opposite way. So the issue is that look at the other NFC game, Kirk Cousins going into San Francisco. And I think it's a game that nobody sees the Minnesota Vikings winning, but no one saw the Vikings winning in New Orleans. But that's never the right reason to pick someone. But Kirk Cousins winning a second big game, now that we're coming off 6 days of everyone saying, Kirk Cousins, he went on the road and finally won a big game, national spotlight. Kirk Cousins came through. Maybe he can do it again. That shows you guys can't do it again.
I have been, and I don't know why, all season long, even last year, enamored with the Vikings. I don't know what it is. I am irrational about them to the point where I really like them. Now, I still don't think they beat San Francisco. I look at San Francisco right now and think they're my Super Bowl favorite because I think they're the most balanced team. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo is also one of the most untested quarterbacks out there. You don't know what to expect from him. But I think top to bottom, they have more balance than anyone else in the playoffs.
Well, and the thing with San Francisco, I think if they weren't going against Kirk Cousins, and I'm judging it so much off of Kirk Cousins' performance, I think I would be leaning towards San Francisco because so many people are giving them the juice that they're the Super Bowl favorite. Because there's so few clear cuts. We go back to the Patriots not being in it. I think people now are going like, well, who do we go with? The chalk pick was always New England will overcome and they'll end up in the Super Bowl. Now I think people are looking at it and a lot are saying, well, it's going to be a rematch of Super Bowl 47. We're going to get Baltimore and we're going to get San Francisco again. But something's got to get in the way of that. If it is truly open, how can it be, the 2-1 seeds facing off? It just doesn't seem possible. And San Francisco, as good as they've looked, has looked pretty mediocre at times down the stretch too. The offense goes, a little cattywampus. Jimmy Garoppolo seems to have his moments here and there where he gets a little interception happy.
Their run game underrated, I think. They've got Matt Breida and everyone else they have over there. They've got a really dynamic run game.
I mean, he can catch passes. He runs with a fury. I really like him and what he brings to the table.
Coleman, another good pass catcher out of the backfield.
They do so many different things in that Kyle Shanahan system. They throw the ball downfield. But I think it does come down to quarterback play. And this is really, as bizarre as it is to say, this is Jimmy Garoppolo's first playoff start.
Right.
That didn't dawn on me until saying it out loud. But
big test.
It's a huge test, especially going against, a good defense in Minnesota who feels like they got everything to play for. They got nothing to lose. They're going house money. I don't know. There's something in me that keeps saying, like, if a team laid an egg this weekend, if one of the teams went out there and not necessarily, just didn't win, they get edged by a point. I think if any of these 1 or 2 seeds goes out and just lays an egg that everyone goes, I didn't see that coming. There's something in the back of my mind that says San Francisco would be that team because we would never see it coming. That they go out, couple of turnovers, boneheaded plays. I mean, we saw a couple games down the stretch where San Francisco's defense, they gave up 40-plus to New Orleans. They still won. The Seattle Seahawks that we saw struggle with the Philly defense last week has been riddled with injuries. They struggled to put up 20 points, and they move up and down the field on San Francisco. And that might be a matchup thing, but there's something in the back of my mind that says maybe San Francisco is that team that just out of nowhere is one and done in the postseason.
So to wrap this up, I'm saying San Fran, I'm saying KC, I'm saying Baltimore, and I'm saying Seattle. Those are my 4 that are moving on. What say you?
I'm going to say, you know what, let's get weird. Let's get real weird. I'm not picking Kirk Cousins. I'm picking more like Linval Joseph and the defense of the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
I kind of like the Vikings there. I like Seattle.
So 2 upsets in the NFC.
And then I'm going to go Baltimore, Kansas City, because I think that's the collision course we've been on. Yeah, I agree with you. I like Tennessee if they were playing in Kansas City.
I do too.
Though I think I hate Houston even more playing in Baltimore. We saw it happen regular season. That was just a horrible matchup. Good God, if we get that for the AFC Championship game, I might not even watch, but I think that's so far afield. So I think it's Baltimore, Kansas City for the AFC title, and Seattle takes on Minnesota in perhaps the weirdest NFC Championship.
There you have it.
Though Seahawks 49ers, we definitely deserve round 3 of that.
Yeah, that would
Those games have been so good this year, we definitely deserve round 3.
That's what I'm hoping. It will be entertaining, that's for sure.
Let's hope so. If not, this is going to be a boring weekend of football.
It might be. Make sure you subscribe to the new YouTube channel, 3 Point Stance. Very excited to have this channel. We'll be posting all kinds of content like this with the 2 of us, Mike DeVito, Matt Mulligan in here as well, giving you all kinds of stuff, and we'll catch up with you probably a championship sometime next week for the championships, AFC, NFC championships.
God, there's only so few weekends left of football. Conference championship weekend, Pro Bowl.
That's not even football.
Let's make it. Let's do something with it. Let's somehow make that good. I don't know how we do it, but let's somehow make it good.
All right, let's go to. Is it still in Hawaii? No, they moved it.
Yeah, it might.
If it's in Hawaii, we'll go to Hawaii.
Yeah, all right. We'll call Mike.